A very warm welcome to our Digital Dialogue webinar series. Please note that these webinars are being recorded. After the session, you will be able to access both the presentation and the recording through our website. In this series, we're exploring the latest trends in digital transformation. And more importantly, we're looking at how digitization is actually helping us to overcome some of the biggest challenges that we're facing in our ever-changing world. I'm Rose Wesby, Director for Digital Transformation at ABB, and your moderator through this series. In this session now, we are joined by Dr. Marija Zima, who is leading the R&D and Marketing for Smart Cities and Solutions in ABB Electrification, as well as sharing her insights on the digital future of smart societies. Marija is also here, of course, to answer all of your questions. Now, please do take advantage of the Q&A function through the WebEx to anonymously send us your questions. We will be posing them to Marija at the end, and I'm sure Marija will be more than happy to answer each and every one of them. So do submit those questions to us. But for now, it just leaves me to introduce Marija, and I leave it to my colleague to share her wonderful insights on smart cities. Marija, over to you.
Thank you very much, Rose. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My true pleasure to address you today and able to speak with this fantastic opportunity about the future, digital future of the smart societies. At ABB, we are driven by the aspiration to advance the technologies and the world towards more smart and more sustainable, to make sure that we are leaving behind the Earth in the better state, or at least in the same way as we have inherited from our past, from our parents. Our scientists and engineers develop technologies that are serving the needs of the societies. And if we look behind, for just a couple of decades, and we try to observe how digital technologies have transformed our life, it's becoming truly remarkable change that we have all gone through. So let us just recall, could you imagine just a couple of decades ago, if you're able to control heating and cooling and lights from your smartphone in your home? Would you be able to imagine that you go grocery shopping and you're able to make a video call with the dear ones to ask their preferences for today? Are you able to track the post package almost in real time, where it is happening right now? All of this is quite remarkable achievement, quite unimaginable transformation. And I would like to speak how we can leverage achievements and technologies like that in the communication space, in the sensor space, to advance also the world we are living in. So in ABB, we develop and transform the man-made world of the buildings, transportation, utilities such as power and water, and all the infrastructures that serve us. We are serving the purpose of advancing the world. We succeed by creating superior value. We push the boundaries of the technology to drive the performance to the new levels. And this allows us and our customers to be more efficient in the daily operations, in the maintenance tasks, and in turn to provide higher value to the society and to the industries. Let us look back again. In the 1930s, we have electrified the tallest building in the world at that time, the Empire State Building in New York. And just a couple of years ago, we have electrified another, the tallest building in the world, but nowadays the Burj Khalifa. So if we look at the change the technologies have gone through, it's really remarkable. The footprint, the size, the type of the resources that we've been using, the volume of the resources we needed to produce the devices that are protecting the electrical distribution chain from failures is really a remarkable achievement over these decades. Back then, reliability was not that high. The demands and requirements on the performance of all of the devices were not that high as today, and now we have to operate in such challenging environments as on the very high altitude in the Burj Khalifa. So it's really inspiring and remarkable when you look back. Everything would seem different if you're just taking a couple of decades. even though daily life would seem to remain the same. We energize the transformation of society and industry towards more productive and more sustainable one. Not only ourselves, but we are, of course, collaborating with the whole environment, with the stakeholders and organizations. We are engaged in such organizations like World Economic Forum, SIGRE, ABB, FIA, Formula E, to promote and advance the achievements of the technology that would serve the needs of the society and would bring it towards more sustainable, smarter future. Majority of the resources are being consumed in the cities, and cities, unfortunately, would also be accountable for the majority of the emissions in the atmosphere, the CO2 emissions. Cities are also challenged with the ability to accommodate the growth, very rapid growth of the population, and have the most stringent requirements on the performance of the infrastructures, also frequently being challenged by not being able to maintain due to the traffic or due to the high requirements of the reliability, the existing brownfield infrastructures. So it's a really, really big challenge. The industries are providing us with goods. They are giving us the workplaces. They are giving the services to the society. And the infrastructures are bringing us water, electricity, and connecting us with the air, marine, or ground transportations, and of course, very significant disruption in the past decades, the communications. So it is crucial to see that the developments of all these industries and infrastructures can really benefit from the advantages that digital technologies bring to our life, the recent technological advancement, and my colleagues have discussed already in the past days the whole capabilities and the way we at ABB approach and move forward the digital transformation. In my talk today, I would like to focus on some examples how we were able, with the leveraging the achievements in the technology space, bring more value and make the transformation of the different industries and infrastructures. And simultaneously, I hope that that might bring the further inspirations for further developments and further advancements of the future. So let us briefly review first, how do we drive digital transformation at ABB? First of all, the digitalization is not a new phenomenon, in my humble opinion. In 80s, we have deployed the first microprocessor-based protective device in the networks. So it would take the input of the electrical measurement, put it in the digital form, and have deployed internal microprocessor-based logic to make a decision and trigger necessary action. That was in 80s. We could see that the remote terminal units that used to connect, for example, electrical substation with the remote control center, they could be seen as early edge devices. But what is new and what is extremely disruptive and bringing us completely new opportunities and capabilities are communication technologies and the cloud technologies. And of course, the amount of the computational power and the analytics that we are able to deploy nowadays. So with all that capacity, of course, we can know more. We have more measurements, more data. We can do more control, more monitoring. Of course, we can do better. And that is the catch. That is the analytics. That is the beauty of the modern technology. So we can optimize, we can predict, we can simulate various phenomena. And another pillar that I'm particularly fond of, we can do together. So the open ecosystems, the environments that allow also the third parties to contribute with the disruptive analytics, with the new ideas, and bringing that and leveraging on the powers of the digital platform that we are deploying, I think it's a really interesting opportunity, allowing a lot of space for the creativity. So in many of our digital solutions, we do leverage on the power of the Microsoft Azure platform, which in turn allows us to benefit from the embedded security features, which is very resilient infrastructure that we can also bring into our customers, ensuring interoperability and availability of the data for different applications and from different sources, again, unlocking and bringing up the opportunities for using more data, more insights from various and different sources. And simultaneously, it's also a scalable solution, so you can grow your solution as your business grows and as your business need grows without the need to pre-invest and make an advanced investment in the infrastructure that you anticipate you might need someday. So that whole philosophy is bringing us a lot of advantage in moving forward and driving the digital transformation with the ABB Ability solution. So how do these digital technology help us to address the challenges in the smart cities? While my colleague today, later, will be talking about the comfort features in the buildings, I would like to focus on the energy and energy management side in the buildings. And I'm really proud of the achievement, in my view, a very significant achievement of our team in developing a cloud-based energy monitoring system that is monitoring not only electrical parameters, but also can monitor water and gas, and just takes 10 minutes to be connected to the cloud. With that system, we are able to assess the performance of the buildings, or facility manager can assess the performance of the buildings, the single building or the building fleet, to see whether it qualifies with the LEED and ISO 50001 certification, to benchmark what is the performance of one or another facility versus the other one, and of course to identify the best possible, most efficient measures to bring the performance to the right level, and also of course to impact decarbonization, make energy savings, and likewise features. So the opportunities are really tremendous. And in that respect, I also want to share another very inspirational, for me personally, example of use of the blockchain solution for the residential energy consumers. This is case in Switzerland. It's also a brilliant example of the open innovation ecosystem. So this is the startup that was formed by the Swiss post-finance company and the energy supply company of the city of Bern, whereas ABB is the technology provider and the solution provider for the blockchain technology. So a couple of years ago in Switzerland, there was a new regulation taken which allows the community to have one single smart meter towards the grid, and simultaneously allowing to trade the electricity among one another. For example, if it's coming from the rooftop photovoltaic of this settlement. So the community then can have the single point of contact with the grid and have a need for the simultaneously sub-metering, sub-billing infrastructure. This could be cost prohibitive. But if you're deploying fully automated solutions such as blockchain allows us to do, and simultaneously the sub-metering infrastructure, which is much cheaper than the whole holistic smart metering infrastructure, we are really able to deliver then to the customers the solution that is really cost efficient. So the other point I would like to discuss are the industries. So the disruptions in the global logistic chains, the costs of the transaction, that actually turn to put the industries under a lot of pressure for the performance. Of course, there are many opportunities that Industry 4.0 is allowing for the industries now and switch to the digitalization. Additional aspirations of the industries is, of course, to decrease possible impact on the environment and the decarbonization. So all of that drives the need for the advanced performance, and at ABB we are able to deliver products, solutions and services to the industries that contribute positively to the impact the industries provided. So let me just briefly review again one of the possible pillars and the impacts that industry is requiring, and that is in the pillar of the asset management. So if you're having some industrial process and producing some goods, what you need is reliable performance of your infrastructure. So asset management technology that is monitoring all the electrical quantities permanently, all the time, voltage, current, mechanical operations, partial discharge, and deploys AI and cloud analytics continuously, that allows to switch the performance from the time-based maintenance to condition-based maintenance. So you are better aware of the performance of your assets. That allows you also to time better the maintenance actions and to have less spare parts at your facility, which is a cost saving, resource saving, space saving, and really boosting the performance of the industry. So in this case, I'd like to bring an example that is close to my heart, and I'm sure close to the hearts of many people. So this is the chocolate production in Italy, where ABB was delivering a solution for the medium voltage primary switchgear that allowed to the customer to switch from the time-based maintenance more towards the condition-based maintenance actions. The ABB Ability Asset Management was deployed for the electrical system with the mechanical and thermal condition monitoring device for 6 medium voltage incoming feeders into the facility and deployed on top of the ABB devices and breakers. The infrastructures. So what is connecting us to various ways of the transportation on land, water, and in the air? The example that I want to discuss would be related to the air traffic. And of course, this year is very special for all of us and sees unprecedented decline in the air transportation. However, it is foreseen that it will recover quickly and actually is permanently growing and rapidly growing mean of the transportation. So it's very important to address decarbonization of that sector, and the means that can be applied to different parts of the airports are of course numerous. We have to transport thousands and thousands of people, thousands of tons of luggage per day. And that is all, of course, imposing requirements on the infrastructure within the airports. And one of non-insignificant contributors is the building itself. So let me just elaborate briefly on the case that we had in one of the busiest and one of the biggest airports in the world, the Delhi International Airport, the Terminal 3 in India, where the total area is 5.2 million square meters. And it's a 7-story facility that is carrying 72 million passengers a year. So it's a really impressive building, which can be seen in a way campus or maybe a small city by itself. So there we have provided 11,000 electrical devices and 100,000 of illuminating points. I was very impressed by the number that is representing the cabling system needed for that 300 kilometers of the cables that were also installed in that facility. So it's a really huge facility. And employing the KINEX system for this lighting and building automation allowed to save up to 30% of the energy in that huge facility, and of course not to violate any requirements to the performance. So we are daily dependent on the reliability of the electrical power. We are using lots of devices that require electrical power in our daily life, and that number is growing as well. We're extending our capabilities as the humans with the electrical devices. So the criticality of electricity is growing, and we really need very reliable support of that infrastructure. So another case that I want to share with you is how we were able to digitalize a retrofit substation. In that case, we have installed on the low voltage breakers that were not originally supplied by the ABB, and these are retrofit solutions, so it's just extension of the capabilities. We supplied Equip Up Protect Plus devices that would connect to the ABB Ability Energy Management and really provide the full digitalization solution to the brownfield, saving 50% of the costs for the customer and still providing the full capability of the digitalization. So if I look now and review the whole ecosystem of the future society, how everybody is benefiting from the connected IT/OT ecosystem, how the smart society pillars are benefiting and stakeholders are benefiting from the digitalization, then of course in the center and on the first place are the humans, the citizens, people themselves that can breathe cleaner air, drink cleaner water, have higher comfort, security and safety, and have more brighter opportunities. These are building, transportation, and other infrastructure authorities that can leverage on the power of digitalization and to make more with less. These are businesses and industries that can benefit from more reliable infrastructure, electrical power supply, more efficient one. These are startups, and I'm really fascinated by that opportunity with the open APIs. When you can tailor and deploy all your creativity to advance the digital space, and you can build up on top of the platforms that is providing the basis of the cybersecurity and the basis for the collection of the data and measurements. These are developers of the cities, settlements, societies that can efficiently create new settlements and infrastructures. And of course, this is administration that can implement sustainability vision and increase the operational performance via the regulations. So at that point, I'm pleased to open up also for the question and answers. I would be happy to elaborate further in any details on the future of the smart societies.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marija. And thank you so much to our audience who are starting to send through those questions. Please do continue to send questions in. I'm sure we will have time to get to them today. But Marija, let's kick off. You talked a lot about the smart city concept, and we know that urbanization is only increasing. But in order for us to be able to accommodate not only the increasing demand, but the changes in demand, what are some of the solutions that we can expect from ABB in the future to support the smart city concept?
It's a very interesting question. I think there is not probably a single solution or single direction of it. But in my previous experience in observing a number of the cases that were done, what I see that digital technologies, automation are frequently very efficient means how to extend the capabilities of existing infrastructure. And this is the kind of focus space of the ABB, the various infrastructures. So it could really kind of extend the capabilities and make the investments maybe postponed, maybe delayed, and doing more more with less. There are many pillars, and technologies are permanently advancing as well. There are such an interesting tools now, like face recognition features, again, embedding and connecting to third-party solutions. So I think we will have more kind of interactive, more open space for the innovation in the future, and largely connected to the digital technologies.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to those. Very importantly, though, this isn't a sole effort. This is an effort, as you mentioned, that has to be done together and in collaboration with partners. We know that ABB has a strong strategic partnership with Microsoft, but what does that partnership mean? What does it comprise of?
Yeah, that's, thank you. Very, very interesting question, and a huge opportunity for us. So I would say there are a number of pillars of our collaboration, and I truly enjoy interaction with the leader in the IT space. And I think the combination of our domain expertise with the digital technologies in the energy, water, infrastructure, building space, combined together with the technologies from the Microsoft, it really brings us forward, and it really gives a lot of opportunities for our customers. So the pillars of collaboration is the technology per se. So we are building up with our solutions on top of the Microsoft Azure and leveraging the cybersecurity features, leveraging the scalability of the platform, interoperability. Number of the technologies from the Microsoft, such as remote operation, some of the technologies we are trying out and testing. But also, if we think about it, together, we are able to address better and more holistically the needs of the cities or societies. So a part of being platform provider, Microsoft also has a very rich ecosystem of the partners, a part of us, and all together we are really able to deliver more holistic solution and guarantee of the interoperability and performance to the end customer.
Fantastic. And when we're looking at these smart cities, of course, the scale and volume of data that's being not only collected, but also shared among multiple partners is quite incredible. We have a question here from the audience with a specific question of, for these cities across Europe, for example, is it possible to save that energy data or then in turn access that energy data through things like public databases for European cities? Fireware is an example of one such database.
I think we need to be simultaneously, in the open space, but simultaneously careful. And of course, we are following all the regulations related to the data privacy. So I'm not sure if we can speak about public accessibility of the data. But yes, we have seen the interest from the authorities that are governing the cities, from the utilities, for who this data is absolutely crucial and relevant in order to be able to deliver optimized performance of the infrastructure. Of course, they do have the access and the summarized indices and the analytics that allowing them to perform better. Simultaneously, the solutions from the partners that are built on top of the app platform, they would have, of course, make the best use of the data with the disruptive analytics.
Fantastic. I wanted to talk a little bit more about one of the exciting cases you shared, the blockchain community project, whereby you can trade with your local network, your microgrid network, the energy. In order for that to be possible, of course, not only are you forcing yourself to, let's say, install a new type of solution architecture, but you're also engaging in a new business model as a community. Are you seeing an increase in the demand of communities for these new business cases, these new business models and commercial models when it comes to using their energy in communities?
Or absolutely. There are increased demands, and I think many countries in the world are talking about creating the communities and having I think it's also from the social interaction perspective. You know, it's a better engagement. You feel responsible for your neighborhood. You feel committed and united in your local community. So, of course, yes, there are also interesting possibilities for the business models. Might be not always we would be seeing such a possibility, and probably there are not yet completely conditions to create such a regulation as Switzerland has adopted that would allow actually exchange of the energy within the community. But I think it's a very interesting example that worldwide can be also, you know, taken as a thought-provoking example, whether or not this is something to adopt. This is something that is encouraging this collaboration, these new business models and so on, and move the community for the energy exchange. In Switzerland, I understand from our team that there is a very high interest and a lot of demand and collaboration with the energy providers.
Wow, very exciting. Well, I'm looking forward for that in my community, wherever that might be. Finally, a bit of a broad question, but one I know our customers are really interested in. In your view, where is the biggest opportunity and the biggest potential in the world of smart cities?
Oh, that's a challenging one. Really challenging one. I would like to think probably about smart cities not as an end destination, you know, not a target, not an objective, but the way, the journey, the way of life. So we constantly are reviewing, the technologies are developing, the requirements and the societies are evolving. So we are constantly looking at pillar by pillar, you know, the action by action, where one can bring more value and improve. Energy is, of course, a very, very big field, accounting for still quite significant part of the emissions. But it's also, we have to recognize the achievement of the industry in the past decades and what seemed to be not possible in terms of the volumes of the renewable energy resources to be adopted on the grids now is just a reality. So energy and savings on the performance on the infrastructure, making infrastructure more efficient, that would be probably the part that comes close to my heart, and of course the transportation. That is another very big pillar and very big pillar of engagement for the team at ABB, where really not only technologically, but also in terms of shifting the state of mind of the society, we are really contributing, in my view, very significantly.
Fantastic. Marija, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to our audience as well for taking the time to join us in this digital dialogue. As we close this session, we will be prompting you to fill in a very short questionnaire with some feedback on this session. It's really important to us, so please do take the time to fill that in. But with that, we hope you've enjoyed this digital dialogue and join us for the remainder of today to see some of the other talks that we have planned as well. After this, you can also access the remainder of our talks that took place in the previous 2 days on our website, should you wish to do so. But until the next time we meet, do stay safe and well. And thank you so much, Marija, for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much, Rose.